So good morning. I'm excited to have you here, guys, this morning, on this Wednesday here. So, how y'all doing? How are things going for you out there? Let me know in the comments below what's up for you, what's going on, how things have been for you. Today, we're going to be talking about the 3 steps to focusing on your joy instead of what they think or feel about you. This is actually inspired by something I was wrestling with earlier this morning when I was thinking about what can I talk about that would be valuable to you guys, and I was feeling really stressed about it. And well, I was like, we'll talk about this. So if you're new to me, I'm Marshall Burtcher, and I help codependents rediscover their happiness, healthy relationships, enjoying their life after narcissistic abuse, trauma, and love addiction. So I need to share this out to the community. Now, the community is your safe haven from the chaos of narcissistic abuse. It's your shelter in the world to find guidance and find people who've been through the same thing as you, that believe you, to see that you're not alone in it. And you'll also find tools, guidance, and inspiration in your journey beyond codependency. Let me get that shared out there real quick. Hi, Rita. Nice to see you. Gotta click all the buttons because, Facebook loves to move things around. Let's see here. There we go. And boom. Okay. And we're done. So those 3 things. So in codependency, we are conditioned to associate our value, our safety, our identity, who we are, with the approval or rejection of other people. This is what I call external orientation, meaning my brain looks at me through the lens of other people rather than looking at me from my own experience of myself, having my own independent point of view of me that I can rely on, that I trust, and that I value. The reason we develop this is because of the freeze-fawn response our brain has to the threat of being discarded or betrayed by the person we're bonded to. Usually, for many of us, that starts out with our parents, or it is a peer, or it's a spouse that we've had a toxic relationship experience in. So the reason the brain wants to do that is so that it can control how the other person reacts to us. Basically, we become pleasers. We become chameleons. We become what we think they want us to be in order to mitigate the risk of them attacking us, discarding us, harming us further. This is how we lose contact with ourselves. This is where we learn to associate ourselves with shame, with hate, with worthlessness, with being a burden, with being too much or too little. And that's where we were conditioned to believe that we are the only problem, and we are the problem. We're the cause of the problems in the relationship. So this is a big deal here. This is like the core function, the core element of what makes codependency, right? Now, breaking free of that is your journey. And the way we do that is we come back to ourself. We come back to understand who we are as we are. Because this gets us out of this chasing element of trying to chase worthiness or love or approval from people that we want love and approval from. And it gets us back into our territory. I call it the yard. So everybody has a yard. I've got a yard, you've got a yard, Joe down the road's got a yard. Yard denotes territory. It denotes boundary. It denotes what is ours and what is not theirs. What is theirs and what is not ours. This allows us to start understanding our own physicality. One of our first physicalities is our body. The second one is our emotions. The third one's our personality, the way we think is the fourth one. Our energy is another one. Our time, our resources, our talents, our thoughts. These are all elements of our territory. And when we approach life with this concept of territory, it gives us permission and insight into the first right that we all have in existence, and that is to occupy space. Now, occupying space means I get to feel or be or do what I am, as I am. I'm not obligated to be, do, or feel, or even have something that somebody else would be approving of. I'm not obligated to regulate their satisfaction or their disappointment, because their satisfaction and their disappointment's over in their yard. That's something they have to manage. I have to manage my own. That is my job. That's my priority. Now, understanding this, I share this so that you can understand the approach to the three things I'm going to share with you, because they're built on this premise of I have the right to take up space. I have my own territory, my own sovereignty, that I don't have to change to accommodate someone else. They have to just learn to live with it as it is. And that's the trick here. It is that we have to live with the way people are. They have to live with the way we are. Okay? Because relationship and understanding other people isn't about so we can change them. It's so that we can find out if they fit what we want and how we want what we want in our lives. That would be traditional compatibility there. Well, to make that happen, we've got to come back to our yard, back to our territory. And so if we're lost in what other people think and feel about us, we're in their yard. And no wonder the world's confusing, right? It's like, well, I don't know who I am. Well, of course you don't. You're in their yard. They speak a different language. They have different expectations, different needs, different wants, different values. So things aren't going to work well for us because it isn't compatible with us. Our yard is compatible with us. Our joy, our happiness, our healing, our healthy relationships, our purposes, our play are all found in the yard, our yard. So a relationship happens when you have person A and person B yards meet, and then they build a play center in the middle. They build a space or a yard for the relationship that occupies a portion of each individual's personal yard, but you have agreements there. You have understanding there as what the rules are and what the play is and what's going to be going on for you. This empowers you to have a mutually understood and acceptable relationship between each other. Now, dating is a process of discovering what that yard is and what works and what doesn't there. Because, guys, just because you really, really like someone doesn't mean you should have a relationship with them. It's completely possible to be passionately in love with someone that's completely toxic for you. And this is one of the ways we start to weed that out. If you want to go in deeper with that and actually master how to build those healthy relationships, get on the waiting list for the relationship strategy. It starts here in December, but there'll be early bird pricing and early bird enrollment opening up here in a couple weeks. So back to those three things. So if I'm lost in their yard, I got to come back to my yard. So how do we do that? Well, this is step number one. Step number one is I need to come back to my body. I need to redirect my attention, my mental focus, back to here. What am I feeling? What am I thinking? Hi, Jasmine. What am I sensing here? Not what do I think they feel. It's what do I feel about what they are thinking or feeling about me. Now, if they're communicating what they think and feel about me, then I can make a call on that. But if I don't know that, then I need to go into a question. I need to get curious about it and go, well, I have a hunch or I have an assumption they think or feel this particular way. The reason we want to do that is we want to caution against mind reading. Okay, a lot of times codependents, because of their accuracy in predicting what people would think and feel, believe that they can think and feel other people's thinkings and feelings, not reality. We're really good at prediction, but we're not actually reading or you don't feel their feelings. You feel your feelings about their feelings. And so your empathy is simulating what you suspect or assume or have a hunch about what they're feeling. And that can feel confusing inside because I'm feeling their feelings. You're feeling your experience of what you perceive they're going through. Now, that doesn't mean you can't sense their energy, because we can definitely do that, but that's an external thing. That's like, wow, I sense this coming from you. Am I on target there? We always want to confirm our hunches rather than run at them as a fact, because this allows for clarity and honesty in the relationship rather than assumptions, because Codependence, most people in general run from assumption, and that tends to get us into trouble. So step number 1, back to the body. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? Where am I at? Can I sense into my own senses? Can I understand me? Once I'm back in my body, I need to regulate the nervous system. Because generally, if we're off in someone else's yard, the nervous system is activated. We may be in fear, we may be in anxiety, we may be in anticipation of something. We want to calm it. The reason we want to calm it is so that we can get more in touch with our voice rather than the voice of our programming, the voice of our fears, the voice of other people. And the voice of our programming, fears, and other people is really activated when the nervous system is anxious or scared. So we're going to regulate it. Now, if you want tools on regulation, you can get the Be Calm tool set for free. It's from me. You can get it at becalm.freetheself.com. I'll post a link in the comments so you can get that. And that's going to teach you how to regulate somatically. Somatic means felt, allows you to regulate the nervous system through touch and through guided grounding meditation. Then, after you're grounded and regulated, you need to listen to what's coming up in you. Just take in what's available for you there. How are you actually feeling? What is there for you right now? How does it feel? A lot of times what we'll discover is if we've been in someone else's yard, we're longing for something or we're fearing something. And both of these come from core needs that we have. All of us have 10 primary core needs, and they express in different ways. And for us, when we're dealing with codependent programming, it's typically, I'm looking for approval, I'm looking for acceptance, I'm looking for safety. Safety is one of those core fundamental things. It's like water or air. We need it in order to thrive. When we're in someone else's yard, we're typically looking for safety so that we can find connection or acceptance, play, protection, being valued, being wanted, right? And so in the second step of slowing down and listening, the goal is to hear what we really need. Once we understand what we need, then we can take action, healthy, self-advocating action to get that need met. Because all needs are good. What you need is good. How we get it, that's where your drama comes up. That's where it can be healthy or unhealthy for you. So listen to what you're feeling and what you're aware of there, and that brings you back. Then that takes you to step number 3. And this will really regulate you down. You need to retrieve your value, your sense of worth from their yard. Almost 90, for me about 90-95% of the time, if I'm in someone else's yard, I am seeking value. That means I've deposited my worth over there. It's in their hands. They can judge it, and that's going to determine something about me. I need to retrieve that value from them, bring it back to my body, back to my mind, and inhabit that space of worth. Because when I am able to occupy the space of my worth, take the territory of my value back, and own it, then I'm going to clearly understand what I am looking for and what I need in my life. And I will also understand whether or not I can get it from them or not. Because our job isn't to choose someone to get a need through and then try to get them to give us the need. I mean, as a child, that was the only option we had because we were dependent on our parents. So we thought, well, if I can get mom and dad to love me, I win. But as an adult, our job is not to do that. Our job is to filter people in and out of our lives based on how compatible they are with what we want and how we want it. Well, if I'm rooted in my value, then I can accomplish that. So value retrieval is a somatic process. I'm going to post the link to that tool as well. I'm also going to add it to the description here so that you can follow and experience that for yourself. Because when you have your value back in your body, that means you're occupying the space of being worthy and lovable just as you are. And that typically triggers a sense of joy. Sometimes initially you'll get grief, you'll get sadness, you'll get anger because of pain and abandonment and trauma that might be there. But over time you start to discover love. You start to discover joy. You start to discover happiness in being you. And there's a real simplicity in that because it anchors you back to you. It gets you out of external orientation, that's seeing yourself through other people's eyes. It gets you back into seeing yourself. This is called self-reference, or individuation is a technical term. And I can see and sense into me and what I think and what I want, despite what they think and want. That way I'm becoming an individual. I'm becoming myself. And the more secure I am in being anchored in who I am and in my value, the more I'm willing to say yes and no to things, the more I'm willing to rock the boat, and the more I'm willing to be who I am. And as I be who I am, I will meet people, I will go to places, and I will buy and choose things that really resonate with my joy. And this is how we accomplish happiness after codependency. So there you go. Those are the 3 steps in which you can retrieve yourself, put yourself back in your yard when you find yourself wandering in other people's thoughts and feelings. So 1, you come back to your body and you regulate. 2, you sense into what you're feeling. And 3, you retrieve your value and listen to what's coming up for you there. So that's today's training, guys. Those are your 3 steps. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think and feel on that. Hi, Laura. Remember, guys, you're worth knowing, loving, and keeping. Remember that you really can break free of this. You don't have to be codependent to have love in your life. You don't have to be codependent to be happy or to be safe. What you need is the right orientation to yourself, the right relationships, and the right habits. And that's what I help you accomplish. You start with the Heal Yourself membership. I recommend the From Addiction to Connection course that's in that membership, because it helps you deconstruct your fantasy, helps you restore sanity, peace, and connection to your life. And then from there, you go into the Know Yourself membership, the Happiness Strategy / the Discover You program, where you start to understand and hear you. And that preps you for developing healthy, happy relationships in your life, which is step 3. That's also known as the Share Yourself membership. You can check those links out below. If you have any questions on those, feel free to PM me. I'll be glad to get you info on those, because enrollment is open for those. So, guys, I appreciate you. Keep yourself safe out there. And I will see you guys in our next video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.